Hey folks, Corey Kupfer here from Kupfer and Associates, video number 8 in our series on RIA firms and doing deals, mergers, acquisitions, tuck-ins, onboarding deals, etc., to grow their businesses inorganically. So listen, we've come a long way here. Hopefully you've been following along. If not, please go back. I'm about to talk about how to negotiate deals. But if you haven't created the business model and the structure, if you haven't figured out the value proposition, if you haven't figured out the why, going all the way back on these videos, all right, there's so much that has to be in place before you even get to the point where you found the deal, done due diligence on it, and now you can start negotiating it. But let's talk about negotiating. So listen, negotiate is something I'm passionate about. I do a lot of. I negotiate every single day. Many of you know I have a book out called Authentic Negotiating. Pick it up. I think if you want to negotiate better and do it in an authentic way, a very different way from which many of us are taught to negotiate. But let's talk specifically about negotiating deals. So there's this balance, right? Especially depending upon what kind of deal you're going to do, between negotiating and wanting to get what you want to get, right? To have it work for you, and having the relationship work. What I always say is, listen, you have to understand, in most cases, negotiation is only part of the ongoing relationship. So if you're going to do a deal where somebody's going to come in and own equity in your firm, or you're going to onboard them as an employee, or they're going to have any ongoing role, right? So it's not just maybe a succession deal where you're taking them out and they're not spending a lot of time with you. Then it becomes crucial to understand that the negotiation process is part of the business relationship and ongoing business relationship process. And if you beat somebody over the head and they feel taken advantage of, first of all, the deal may not go through. But even if they come in to you, that's a horrible place to start, right? So you want to figure out that something that's going to work for everybody. But what you don't want to do is be too nice because you're too worried about that, or you want people to like you, or a lot of these things I talk about in my book, and give away too much. So how do you do that? Well, in some of the prior, if you follow what I have asked you to do in the prior 8 videos or 7 videos, 7 videos, we're up to number 8, then you'll be in a great place to negotiate better. And why is that? Because if you figured out your why and you know who you're targeting, right, and you figured out your value proposition, you're starting to drill down on what's really going to work for you. And then you created your deal model, right, your model and your deal structure. So in advance, you've already started to drill down on exactly what your objectives are, on what deal structure and model will work for you in those objectives, on how you want to do these deals. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to be totally rigid, right? You're going to be open to what other people say. But first of all, you're going to present that in a very clear way to the potential partner, target, etc., so that they're going to understand where you're coming from. They can opt in or out. And if they opt in, then hopefully they're accepting the fundamental premise and structure of your deal, which will reduce the negotiations, okay? Now, you may have negotiations over valuation, over salary, over that kind of stuff. And you want to spend some time really drilling down on those and figuring out what's acceptable to you and what's not acceptable to you on every material term of the deal. I talk a lot about this in my negotiating book, that the first step in the process of being a great negotiator is getting clarity. I mean, crystal clarity, not a penny more, not a penny less. Exactly what works for you and what doesn't work for you. Because if you get that kind of clarity, it makes it a lot easier to negotiate. The other thing is you want to be detached from the outcome. I talk about CDE in my book: clarity, detachment, and I'll tell you what the E is in a second. Detachment means not that you don't care, right? Obviously, if you have a candidate, a firm, a target, a team that you want to bring in, you should have a preference that you bring that team in. If you've done all the work to identify your why and the ideal people and the value proposition, and you made the pitch and the people are interested, well, you have an interest in them. So you should have a preference that the deal work out. But ultimately, if it doesn't meet your objectives that you've identified in your clarity process, right, then you shouldn't do the deal. And no hard feelings. It's not like they're bad people. It just is not meant to be right now. So being able to be detached to the outcome is the next big thing in negotiating. And finally, the E in my formula is CDE: clarity, detachment, and equilibrium. So in a negotiation, how do you maintain your equilibrium? How do you not get thrown off? If the other party says, I don't think your firm is worth that much, it's not necessarily a personal attack on you. Be prepared to, justify why it is, listen to them, why they think they have different reasons. And listen, either agree or agree to disagree, right? Don't get thrown off. Don't get thrown off by tough negotiating tactics. Don't get thrown off by that kind of stuff. Do the things you need to do to maintain your equilibrium. Take a break if you need to, step out, prepare yourself in advance, meditate, go for a run, whatever it is you do to get yourself in the right headspace. I don't have time here to go into detail. In the Authentic Negotiating book, I have this tool that I teach called CPR, Context, Purpose, and Results. It's a phenomenal tool to make sure that you're in a place of CDE and that you're prepared for negotiation, so check that out. But the next step after you've done all the other things I talked about in the prior videos is to successfully negotiate the deal. So look out for video number 9, which will be on, let's see, I'm forgetting, positioning. Great. We got positioning and integration left. So look out for videos 9 and 10 after this one. I hope this series has been helpful. Feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions. Corey Kupfer, Kupfer & Associates. Take care.